So I just saw Toy Story 5 with my 10-year-old daughter, and I want to talk about it. This is the movie poster for my theater, so apologies if it looks a little messy. I feel like this movie was written about my daughter and for all of you. And what do I mean by that? Well, my daughter's 10 years old, and the character in the movie, I think, is like 8.5. And she is dealing with the fact that she still plays with toys, and all the friends that she wants to be friends with are playing with lily pads and basically screen time. And that was the larger story in the movie, was that all of these kids these days no longer play with toys. They are just being put in front of screens as an easy out for parents so they don't have to entertain their kids. And my daughter still plays with toys. In fact, she brought her Toy Story toys to the movie so they could watch it with her. And now, does she still get screen time? Yes, she does. But it's like 4 hours on a weekend, 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday, and that's it. And on top of that, she might get some TV time with us. But that's the only screen time she really gets. Whereas this movie was tackling the fact that these kids are in front of their screens 8-10 hours a day doing absolutely nothing but chatting online and playing video games. But on top of that, the character was introduced to cyberbullying because the chat function was engaged. And on her screen time for my kid, there is no chat function. So I don't even understand why parents are so free with that. But that is the point of what I'm getting at, that this movie is for all of you, because I do not understand till this day why there are so many parents that have so many kids that allow them to act and behave this way, as explained in this movie. One of the chief complaints by the toys in the movie is that these screens are causing kids to grow up too fast. And that is exactly true, because my own daughter is facing this issue where she goes to school and acts like a 10-year-old, whereas all the other 10-year-olds are acting like they're 12 or 13. Why is that? Why do we have so many parents that in the same breath will say, well, I don't do that, or that my kid's a good kid, and then behind closed doors they actually do that, and their kid is a little piece of shit? Because that's also the other theme in the movie that was lightly touched upon, which was cyberbullying. And till this day, I do not comprehend it. I don't understand how there are parents that raise such terrible children but don't know that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Yet there are so many of them out there all over the place. And so you're doing something extremely wrong, and yet you're oblivious to it. That or you don't care. And either way, you're not a good parent. None of you are. Anybody that allows their kids to become bullies, to become cyber bullies, to be mean and cruel to their peers, you're not good people. I don't care what anybody says. You are doing something fundamentally wrong as a parent, and it's in the outcome, and it shows in your children every day. So own it. Stop acting like you're a good person, because you're not. You're a terrible parent. And I really think more parents need to be told that, and I feel like that was part of what the movie was trying to say without saying it so bluntly like I am. But you're all terrible parents. Now, the other themes in the movie I kind of also didn't agree with, even though I'm saying this is an overall good movie because it is a great message. They tried to sneak in the reverse role of femininity and masculinity, and I don't really understand that. If anything, they just kept taking jabs at men and masculinity in this movie, and you don't really see it or pay attention to it until after the fact. So, for example, Buzz Lightyear is usually this, kind of really strong personality. Well, in this one, he is completely wrapping himself up, trying to ask the lead toy character, Jessie, I believe is her name, to marry him. And even when he finally musters up the courage, she cuts him off, gives him a kiss, and basically that was the proposal of saying yes. And then when the wedding came about, which was play pretend by the kids, they show Buzz in a kilt being escorted down the aisle, in reverse fashion, and then he then gets dipped in the sealing of a kiss moment at the end of the wedding versus Jessie, and so I don't understand why Hollywood continues to do this other than to undermine traditional family values. On top of that, they portrayed Woody as an aging toy, like he had a bald spot in the back of his head and it kept blinding all the other toys every time he stood in the light, or that he actually was developing some sort of gut even though he's a toy. Meanwhile, Jessie didn't age, no other toy aged, and so it just seemed like they were constantly taking jabs at men, traditional roles, and masculinity. And it was very subtle, sometimes on the nose, and but still, though, the movie was a good movie, so I try to wrestle with that. But I just wish Hollywood would stop doing that, support traditional family values, support the importance of a man and a woman in the household for your kids, or at least having that type of presence, and just the cornerstone of a society, an American society, is a family. And just stop trying to get away from that, because that's the only way we progress as a society, is to continue to create families, children, grandchildren, you know the whole thing. So anyways, though, still a great movie, and still my focus is on all of you bad parents out there. Take a lesson from this movie and stop being bad parents, okay? Thanks.